Hey guys, it's Anthony, the MMA and political analyst. Today, June 11th, 2014, is the day we have seen the end of Chael P, the American Gangster Sonnen. For those who don't know, which I'm sure you do, and if you don't know, you should, Chael P, the American Gangster Sonnen, failed a random out of competition drug test and has been pulled off the card for UFC 175 in his matchup with Vitor Belfort. Vitor Belfort was a replacement for Vanderlei Silva, who was basically suspended by the Nevada State Athletic Commission for basically ducking a random drug test. He was supposed to be drug tested, and he kind of like skipped town, did what he can to avoid getting tested, and he was pulled off the card, replaced by Vitor, and now Chael Sonnen has been pulled off the card. Now, I asked this question in my last political video I made, so I'll just ask the same question here. Is anybody surprised by this? Is anybody surprised that Chael P, the American Gangster Sonnen, has been caught with these banned substances again? Because let's not forget, this is not the first time Chael P, the American Gangster Sonnen, has been caught with these banned substances or performance-enhancing drugs or whatever you want to call them. Not the first time. Let's rewind the clock a little bit to his first Anderson Silva fight. Back in, what was it, 2010? August 7th, 2010, the day before my birthday? Well, Chael Sonnen lost that fight by triangle armbar. We all remember that. Okay, epic battle. Was beaten up on Anderson Silva for 4.5 rounds. About midway into the fifth round, got a little lazy, got caught up in triangle and beat. Okay, choked. Had everything going for him, but he choked. Right. After that fight, he was suspended for a year for banned substances, overly high testosterone levels, whatever it was. I don't remember all the details, but he was suspended for a whole year. It was it was elevated testosterone levels. Okay. Now he claimed at the time that no, I told the commission that I was on these banned substances. I was on the testosterone replacement therapy. I told them, and they completely knew about it. And during his hearing, it came out that actually he completely lied about that, and that didn't happen at all. Also during that same period, Chael P, the American Gangster Sonnen, was convicted of real estate fraud and convicted of a felony. So now we have a banned substance user, elevated testosterone levels, and a convicted felony. Not a good time for Chael Sonnen. However, Chael Sonnen was able to maintain his high-profile fighter status by basically running his mouth, insulting Brazil, insulting Anderson Silva, insulting other fighters, talking a lot of trash, and was able to swing during his return a year later, roughly, was able to swing a pretty good fight against Brian Stann. Beats Brian Stann. Has another yet epic call-out of Anderson Silva after the Brian Stann fight. Goes on to fight Michael Bisping. Beats Michael Bisping, although I found that to be somewhat questionable. And then finally lands his title shot, his rematch against Anderson Silva. Chokes in that fight. Gets beat by Anderson Silva. Gets another title shot against John Jones. How did that happen? You lose you lose a title fight. You go up a weight class and get another title fight. I mean, usually you see that going down a weight class because you consider, okay, well, you're going to be bigger than your opponents at a smaller weight class. So we've seen guys in the past lose a title fight, go down a weight class, and get another title fight. Very rarely do we see a guy go up in weight class. The last time I've seen that happen, I believe, was back when BJ Penn lost the lightweight title and went up a weight class and fought Matt Hughes and was able to beat Matt Hughes. So, I mean, there is precedent for it, but it's extremely rare. So he loses to John Jones after calling out John Jones and talking a whole bunch of trash about John Jones. Gets destroyed by John Jones. Gets another fight with Mauricio Shogun, who of course is diminished and old and slow and unfortunately not that good anymore. Beats him by guillotine and then goes on to fight Rashad Evans and gets destroyed by Rashad Evans in one round. That's Chael P, the American Gangster Sonnen for you. Okay, he's what? 3-3 in his last 6 fights. Pretty, mediocre in my opinion. For a guy of his all the attention he gets and his high profile fighter status, right? 3-3. And yet he's about to main event UFC 175 against Vitor Belfort, a guy who was about to have a title shot himself against Chris Weidman, but he had his own little drug issues. Go figure that one out for me. So anyway, Chael Sonnen, after Vanderlei was initially pulled from the card, Chael Sonnen goes on these rants and these tirades about Wanderlei Silva, talking about, oh yeah, well he's definitely on drugs, and I'm glad the world knows it now. I'm glad that he's been exposed, and he talks about how other fighters have been texting him, talking about, oh yeah, I knew he was on drugs, I knew it the whole time. I'm so glad that he got caught, and all this other stuff, and of course, turns out that maybe Wanderlei Silva is not the guy we should be worried about. It's you we should be worried about. Now, I'll have to give it to Chael Sonnen. When he gets caught, right, I think he must have known he was about to get caught because he had his full game face on with the media. I'm talking about he was all over the place doing interviews left and right. And you know what? He's so good behind the microphone that for almost half a second, he had almost sold me on it, on his excuses. Had almost had me sold. It took me a minute to kind of clear my head and be like, okay, wait a minute. Why am I believing this guy? He's been caught before, and he's been caught lying before. Why would I believe him? Like old George Bush saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me, you can't be fooled again. Right? That's pretty much what the mantra with Chael Sonnen. Don't believe anything he says. Don't believe anything Chael Sonnen says. He's been out there in the media just on his media blitz trying to defend himself, making excuses. I saw one interview where the interviewer basically mentioned that, he'd been caught with illegal substance. And Chael Sonnen went on like a 3-minute rant about how, no. These weren't illegal substances I was on. They were banned substances. And went on like a whole, dissertation basically on the distinction between illegal and banned. Now you see what he's doing here, right? It doesn't matter that there is a difference, of course, between illegal and banned, but it doesn't matter. You still got caught with something you're not supposed to be on, whether it's in competition or not. But if you change the conversation to talk about how there's this huge difference between the two, oh, well, wait a minute. You might bring the attention away from you and start bringing all the attention on, these stupid semantics. I mean, the guy's a genius. And unfortunately, a lot of people are buying it. I'm looking on my Facebook feed, all my like my MMA fans that I communicate with, I interact with, and at least a few of them are like, oh yeah, man, I feel so bad for that guy. You feel bad for Chael Sonnen? And why they feel bad for him? Because in the media, he's trying to make himself into the victim now. He's like, oh, well, I was on TRT, but since TRT is now illegal, I had to get on something else to come down off TRT. Wait a minute. So what you're saying is, because you can't take TRT anymore, now you just take something else as a substitute? Oh, really? And you thought that was going to be okay? You thought that taking basically the next best thing to testosterone replacement therapy was going to be okay? And he was like, well, it was out of competition testing, so I didn't know that I had to be held to these same standards. It was out of competition, right? Dude, you know that you could be randomly drug tested. It's part of the agreement. It's part of the licensing process for the Nevada State Athletic Commission. You knew you could be subject to out of competition testing. So what made you think that was going to be okay? But look, here's the thing. Despite all his excuses and despite all his, oh, cry me a river stuff, I want to be a father and this is for my health and all this other crap, here's the real reason why Chael Sonnen, Dan Henderson, Rampage Jackson, Vitor Belfort, Wanderlei Silva, and all these other guys take this TRT stuff. Because they want to get a competitive advantage. And that's the only reason. That's the only reason. And honestly, I'm okay with that. You know, a lot of these guys are getting older. They're not as fast or as strong or as good as they used to be. So they got to take something to keep up with the young guys. I don't necessarily have a problem with that. Okay. But I can see why, obviously, the commissions want to ban that stuff. And if they do ban it, well, then you just can't use it. And that means if you get old and you get slow and you suck, well, then you just have to retire. Sorry. Right? That's just the bottom line. But don't come out here and lie to us. And don't come out here and make all these excuses. You knew you could not take this stuff and you took it anyway. You know, for all that crap that you've been talking all these years about how, you know, you're the only fighter with some integrity and that other crap. Well, how about you have some integrity and come out and say, you know what, I shouldn't have took this crap. I took it anyway. Okay, whatever. I'm done. But look, this is why I say this is the end of Chael Sonnen. Because it is. You know, I have a feeling he's probably going to get a pretty lengthy suspension for failing his drug test, possibly maybe we're talking about a year. He's already 37. He's going to be 38 by then. He's going to have to come off all of this crap. And once he comes off all of this crap, all this TRT and whatever he's using now, once he comes down off all that stuff and he can't use it anymore, you think that beating he got from Rashad Evans was bad. Oh, just wait till he's got coming next. Oh, just wait. Because Chael Sonnen is really not that good in the first place. Okay? So you strip away all the TRT, you strip away all the performance-enhancing crap, and you got a diminished old man. And so if he does fight again and say a year from now or so, oh boy, it's gonna be a beating of epic proportions. And so that's why I'm saying this is the end of Chael P, the American Gangster Sonnen. You know, I never did like Chael Sonnen, so maybe I'm just being a hater right now. And if I am, okay. But at least I'm being a fact-based hater. Okay, all this is based in fact. Fact is, this is the second time he's been caught with, you know, illegal substances, banned substances, performance-enhancing drugs, whatever you want to call them. Second time. And the second time he's been caught lying about it. So, I got no love for the guy, man. I don't. For all the trash talk, I do find it funny sometimes, some of the stuff that he says. But if you're going to talk all that trash, man, you got to back it up. And he hasn't backed it up in the cage, because every time he gets into a big title fight, he chokes and loses. And he hasn't backed it outside the cage. Okay, because he's a convicted felon, and he's getting caught with performance-enhancing drugs left and right. And so to me, that's the legacy of Chael P, the American Gangster Sonnen. Choking and juicing. Okay? And that's it. Oh, and committing felonies as well. You know, let's not forget about that. Anyway, guys, I know I'm going to get some hate for this video because I know there's a lot of Chael Sonnen fans out there, so bring it. Bring it. I don't care. This is Anthony, the MMA and political analyst. I'll talk to you.